Hello and welcome to the Silver Hedgehog Hogcast, Episode 5, the only podcast that didn't hibernate for Christmas and ate all the pies. The mint ones. I'm your host, Garry Llewellyn. On this episode, I review independent film Once Upon a Lifetime. But first, the film's director David Skato popped in for a quick chat. We discussed all sorts of things, including his love of film, his passion for writing, and I quizzed him on his new film, Once Upon a Lifetime. Just a little note before I press play. The interview was recorded mid-December, so there's a little bit of talk about the MCU and Spider-Man, and if you're listening to this in January, that may seem a little bit outdated now, but the rest of the interview is brilliant, if I do say so myself. Anyway, enough of my rambling, on with the Hogcast. Hello David, welcome to the Silver Hedgehog Hogcast.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Just a massive thank you for coming on to Hogcast and being, I think, my third ever interviewee, so I'm really privileged, so thank you.
Thank you, no problem at all.
So we got talking on Facebook after I wrote a review of Once Upon a Lifetime, which I think is your latest film, and we got talking. One thing I did is I read your bio on your website as well. I can see that you love life and you love to tell stories. And one of my first questions to you is, where do you think that kind of love of telling stories comes from?
Well, it comes from childhood. So, growing up, we didn't have a lot. The way to escape circumstances for me was to daydream. Imagine a life that I didn't have. Just imagining, where I wanted to be and even who I wanted to be. So, and telling stories in my head became a thing. Never knew that I could put it on another medium, but it became my thing. It's like, I'll daydream about, being anything, superhero, even being something as a doctor, just whatever, whatever I could think of at the time that would get me out of my circumstances. I daydreamed, and that's where my love for telling stories and my love for life just, in this life, you can be anything you want, and I've always believed that. So, put those two things together and I'm here.
And telling wonderful stories at that as well. I noticed that your first film was Gutter Story, which came out exactly about 10 years ago.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what made you start getting into filmmaking and choose Gutter Story as the first film?
Okay, well, interesting. All of my stories are interesting. So to go back to Gutter Story, you have to go back to just film in general. So I wasn't a filmmaker. I used to do TV ads for local TV, and that's how I get into filming. I moved from there to music videos. So I did a lot of music videos for local rappers in the area, and I've always wanted to try to do a movie, but I never knew that I could. I didn't really know how. So I got all the rappers together and I was like, hey, let's do a movie. And I pretended to know what I was doing. And they all came out and we Gutter Story, very low budget. Gutter Story we shot Gutter Story over one weekend and it cost me all of $176. Because I already owned the equipment. I shot everything, did everything, wrote everything, and it was actually reasonably successful.
Fantastic.
So, but yeah, that's where it came from, man. Just, I don't know, by default, wanting to do something and deciding that I could at least give it a try.
And it sparked a whole new career, I see.
It did. That's true.
So when you're not writing screenplays, when you're not producing new films, when you're not writing novels, because I've spotted you on Amazon, one of the half's actually reading your book, and not being a musician, what do you do to relax?
Okay, well, let's pause a little bit on that. Musician. I'm no longer a musician. I haven't made music since 2007. So I've been out of that career. But what I do to relax is watch movies. I love I'm an avid film fan. I love movies. I love all things Marvel, and excited to see the new Spider-Man. So don't spoil it for me.
No, I haven't seen it yet either.
So yeah, just movies. One of my greatest pastimes is watching really, really bad science fiction movies. I love bad sci-fi. Like I would sit there and I would swear at the TV the whole time. but I enjoy it so much. The worse, the better.
So like Attack of the 50-Foot Woman,
Oh yeah.
classics like The Thing and The Blob.
Oh yeah. Night of the Leapers.
Brilliant.
Love it, man. I've seen it all. I've seen and I'm not only the old ones. I mean, new ones too. Like people that make really horrible sci-fi today. I watch those too. So yeah.
Yeah, there's a certain charm about those kind of low budget sci-fi schlocky films that you just can't get enough of. Here in the UK, Amazon's cornering the market for those. It's the Amazon Prime's full of them. It's great.
Yes, yes it is.
Obviously, you like to watch films. Is there a particular film that's had a lasting impact on you and your life, and perhaps an inspiration for your filmmaking as well?
I think that'll be more than one. But if I had to say life-wise, Purple Rain, the Prince movie, from back in the
Yeah,
80s.
I know
You
it.
know, not to mention it was the first time I saw a boob that wasn't related to me. So Purple Rain changed me. I saw it when I was younger, but then I saw it again when I became an adult, and I realized that, Prince's story was similar to mine as a struggling musician trying to figure out life, and he in the movie he had a kind of a disassociation, or not sure what word I'm looking for, but he had an issue with being biracial,
Right.
and I think for me, my biggest issue was I was a good guy trying to be bad, and that it was an identity crisis is what it was, because where I grew up at, you got to be tough. So I was a good guy, but I was trying to be tough, and I felt where he was coming from, with that identity crisis. So it definitely left a large impression on me, and I've probably seen it at least 16 times. So love that
Wow.
movie. It's one of my favorites. It's probably at the top of my list of favorite movies. Purple Rain. If you've never seen it, watch it.
I know it. I've never watched it, so it's one to put on my list.
Yeah, put it on your list, man. It's a
I'll put it on the green
phenomenal.
screen list, and we can talk about it.
Okay, sure.
Obviously, wanted to move on to talking about Once Upon a Lifetime. It's a really interesting film. I really liked it. I think on my review I called it a charming independent film, and it really is. And it's one of those. It's got a very interesting play on this rapid aging genre, and not only that, there's a really skillful exploration of the family dynamic. What gave you the idea to combine the two kind of concepts together and create Once Upon a Lifetime?
Well, so I wanted to do a family drama, right? It started out as I wanted to do a family drama, but I wanted to make sure that, first of all, make sure people watched it, and I didn't want to box it in as just a family drama. So, and I wanted to tell a story about several generations under one roof. So that's kind of where the basic story came from. And then I thought about, I'm really big into fantasy, science fiction, and things like that. So it's like, so how can I take this and make it science fiction, or make it, what it became fantasy? So it was like, okay, I got this family. They're multi-generational. You got the son, the father, mother, and the grandmother, which is three generations. So, and that's how I came up. Is like, okay, let me insert a person that grows through these generations to help these people, because we all need a little joy in our life. So even at no matter what time of life that is, because when you're younger, you got different issues. A 9-year-old doesn't have the same issues as a 70-year-old. So I wanted to kind of show who can be helpful in all of these generations. So that's basically how I came up with the story. But it really, the foundation of it is a real deal family drama, is what I was trying to convey.
And it comes across really well, actually. It is watching a family drama unfold, especially as the Joys get older and different dynamics come into play as well. Another thing that's really striking is everybody looks like they're having a right kind of good old time on it. Everybody's got a smile on the face. It just looks like everybody's gelling. Have you worked with any of the cast in previous films or other projects?
With the exception of Cecily, who's a co-producer, she also plays Joy 40s. No, everybody else was brand new. Everybody else was, I met them all through the casting process. So, I think what it is, you got to read people's personalities at casting, from self-tapes and things like that. And then, just got to make sure that, I'm big on energy. So if your energy is coming across well, then I have no problem with casting you. But if your energy is bad, and this, may sound bad to some people, but I trust my energy. So if I walk into a room with a person for a meeting and the energy is bad, they don't have to do anything to me, but I just feel like I can't be here and I can't be around this person. So those are the people that I negate from anything that I do. See, you have a good energy, so of course I love to do your podcast. So, but no, I stay away from bad energy. So all of the people that came to set had great energy, and it plays well on screen.
It does, yeah. And the young actors are really phenomenal. I mean, Phoenix has won an award, I noticed. Mm-hmm. How easy was it to cast the younger cast?
It actually was kind of difficult because I've worked with kids before on multiple projects. So casting children is very interesting. Just one example. I worked with a child on a pilot, and she literally burst into tears because she didn't want to be there. Her parents was making her do it. So I look for things like that. I look for things like, does the kid want to be here? And I kind of just pay attention to the surroundings, and with Phoenix, it was like, oh yeah, he was answering my questions. I sat there and I had not even an audition. I just had an interview with him. I sat there and I just talked to him. And I do that to make sure that he's comfortable being on set. So just talk to him. And I mean, the guy was answering questions as if he was, 30. So it was like, and he had this innocence about himself. So, and I was like, he's the kid, he's the guy. And with the other Joy, same thing. Raquel, she came through. Same thing. She had that innocent. That's Joy 9. And then Sophia was Joy, whatever you want to call it, 15ish. But Sophia was the Joy that I based every other Joy around. So I picked her first, and then I put everybody else around her. Casting the children was great. It wasn't easy, but it was great. It was a great experience.
Something else that comes across is all of the characters are shown as they're all strong characters in the film. There isn't one that's portrayed weaker than another, say. Even in a moment of weakness, Tatiana finds the strength to kind of boot out her husband, and I was really rooting for her to do that, by the way. At one minute I thought, oh no, she's going to cave. And when she didn't, I was so happy. How difficult was that scene for Araya to film? Because it did look really emotional on screen.
Ari is just a phenomenal actress to work with. She is one of those director's dream, right? She comes in, she's ready to work, she's ready to go, and she makes it look easy. So to answer the question, how easy was it? I wouldn't know because, I'm not an actor. but she made it look easy. Like she came in and she nailed it. She embodied everything who Tatiana was. Everything that I saw in Tatiana, Ari had it. But yeah, no, she's great. She came in, she nailed it. Every scene, she put 110% in everything she did.
With the Joys, there is a level of continuity which also I kind of noticed and really enjoyed watching. So between Joy 9 to the oldest Joy, there were personality traits that just continued through. How much did the actresses discuss that amongst themselves about how they were going to portray it, or was that something that came from yourself as a director?
I would say it came from me as a director and me as I write character backgrounds on everybody, so with this particular film, the character background stayed the same with the Joys. So they all got the exact same character background. And with just kind of talking to them, mentoring them, how I wanted Joy to portray, even though you're 40, you still got to have an innocence. Even though you're 70, you still got to have an innocence, so I just kind of work with them on that. Now with that said, a lot of it was just them. It was just, they're just great actresses. And, there was nothing else to be said about it. They nailed it. You tell them one thing and they nailed it. Another thing is, after casting, we did, a couple of rehearsals. I made sure that they all got each other's contact. And I was like, please talk to each other, connect, find that connection because you're the same person. So go ahead and, try to start making that connection, try to start gelling together, but so I think it was a mixture of all of us, just all of us coming together and making it work.
Excellent. It was something that I kind of noticed at the very beginning with Joy 9, and to say, as it went through, this smile continued through each and every character, and it was a joy to watch.
Nice.
What about filming? How long did it take to film end to end?
So you're probably gonna be really upset at me and slap me for this, but we shot that film in 8 days.
Wow.
I know. And and again, those things are not by choice. It's by budget restraints. It's one of those things where it's like we gotta get in, we gotta get this thing shot. And I'm able to do that because, I am the director and the writer. So it makes it a little bit easier to speed up those days because once I got the shot, I know I got the shot. Like I know when I have exactly what I'm looking for. But sometimes, you'll do it in a couple of takes, no less than 2 takes. I don't really do a one take thing, but
No.
I can do it, 2 takes or better. So rehearsing, we rehearsed a lot. We came through and we actually did the scenes way before filming, and that's with everybody. So we really did the movie probably, 5 or 6 times over
Wow.
before we actually shot. So I say 8 days of actual on production on scene, but we're talking months of preparation.
All paid off in the end, though, didn't it? Brilliant.
Oh yeah.
Where was it filmed? I don't know, obviously, America very well. So.
Los Angeles.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, the entirety of the film was filmed right here in Los Angeles, California, which is West Coast. But Los Angeles is the place to film. Hollywood is here. Things like that. But no, we didn't actually film in Hollywood, but the surrounding areas.
Do you keep in touch with any of the cast members?
Oh yeah. Oh Lord, probably all of them. Yeah, yeah. Even from previous films, I still talk to just a lot of the cast from But no, from once. Yeah, I think all of them.
And do you ever think about when you're writing that's going to be perfect for such and such, or do you always look at a blank canvas every single time?
Well, for the most part, blank canvas, but I do every now and then I do. You do because even for the Eating Gold, I got a character in mind that was in once. So yeah, so I'm looking at that. But no, I do for the most part blank slates. I mean because I don't want to get cornered and trying to fit somebody into something. I rather for the character to be who the character is and hope that a person can fit that character.
Okay, yeah, because I wasn't sure if you'd kind of got an ensemble cast that you would kind of reach out to and go, I've written this, you'd be great, or that. So it's a whole casting process each time.
Right. Yeah, it's a whole casting process. Even if I worked with them before, it's still the whole. I still need to see them in that part. I need to see them in that character, and it's just a thing about it. I need to see it.
Yeah.
And just it's a director in me. Even if I think, oh man, that person is going to be awesome and amazing, I still need to see it.
Yeah, because it might well be your mind's eye is different to what happens on screen.
Oh yeah, and we do a screen test. And before I sign anybody on, I do screen tests. Yeah, so I'll do the casting. My casting is self-tape, live audition, screen test. And
Right.
if you get through the screen, and the screen test is always with the person that's going to either have the most scenes with you or have the most effective scenes with you. So, for instance, the screen test was Ari and Jensen for once, and it was Phoenix and Raquel.
Oh, okay.
I do it like that to try to, and again, that's how you get that, that gelling.
Yeah, the connectivity between the two.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. So, and then you hope they fit everybody else, but you do the best you can.
Another thing that really struck me was a soundtrack. Once Upon a Lifetime doesn't have this temp track or stock soundtrack which independent films tend to suffer from.
Mm-hmm.
They tend to suffer from end to end, just monotonous, badly cut sound. But Once in a Lifetime is a lot different to that. It has actual artists. Am I pronouncing it right? Emery?
Yes, they may tell me it's not right, but that's how I pronounce it.
So, how did that connection come across?
It came across through Soundstrike, just kind of making deals, So I made a deal with Soundstrike. It's actually a group, not a person.
Oh, okay.
I know, right? Sounds yeah. So kind of going back and forth, and just made that deal with them, and it's like it's good to go. I do that because I come from music, so like you said, I don't want generic whatever. I need music to convey emotion. I went through, oh Lord, hundreds of artists. She struck me. I say she, but because the lead, of course, is female, but she struck me as just awe. I was in awe by just the tone and the lyrics and just everything. And I was like, okay. And another thing that I do in my films, I try my best to use the same artist as much as I can.
All right.
And so when I saw her catalog and went through the catalog, I was like, she's the one, or they're the group.
There's certain tracks which appear throughout the film from the group, and they fit really well. I didn't notice anything that was sticking out. It was like a perfect mold what was on screen. Another thing I was really surprised by.
Okay, nice. Well, hey, you'll like my films because I live for the music. I believe music can change a mood instantly. So, and I try to make sure that, I put really, really good music in every film I do.
I look forward to seeing some more. And what does the future hold for you?
The future holds another movie. I'm working on another film. I actually got a couple in the chamber, as we say. So my next film, was going to be this horror type thing, but I switched it around because I want to kind of stay with the way that the world is. I want to kind of stay in that family friendly zone. The world is already horrible, so let's let's do something that's friendly. So I went back to an original idea that I had, and that's going to be my next movie, and it's called Eating Gold. I also got another book, which the famous book is one of five. So famous is a series, or not famous in general, but it's called The Soul of the World. And it consists of five books, that all tie together and comes down to this massive last book. So just excited about that. Working on that now, and it should be completed. It should be released in March, but don't quote me on that because I've been busy.
Just a tad.
I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try to shoot for Mars, but I got a couple of things. I got a couple of offers to direct other films by other writers. Kind of scanning through those, But for right now, Eating Gold is my next romp in the film industry.
And if I remember right, Eating Gold is to do with a girl that enters a cooking competition and she's a vegan.
Right.
Yeah,
that's it. So a teenage girl who's just dealing with a lot of different things. And again, that right there is what I call my pre-brief. It'll change once I, kind of nail down. And I don't put too much early on because the one thing I don't want to do is for somebody to beat me to my own idea.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough.
So I kind of put that little brief. Is way more to it than that, and by watching once, there's some fantasy elements in there that I'm not going to get into.
No.
But you'll see it once I get the movie done. That synopsis will change, and you'll see what it's really about. But that kind of gives you an overview.
No, that's fair enough. I'm just expecting Gordon Ramsay to pop up mysteriously in the corner.
It's gonna be awesome, man. It's gonna be a fun shoot. It's gonna be a fun shoot. So
I look forward to seeing that when it comes out at some point.
Oh yeah, for sure. You know what? We got to get you in for another review, man. Because I like that. I love the thoroughness.
No, thank you. I'm just shocked and humbled about everybody that I've seen that's liked it and shared it and commented on it. So thank you for that as well.
Oh yeah.
And before we started recording this, we had a bit of a chat, and you let slip that you're a massive Marvel fan.
Oh yeah, massive. I've seen every single thing except for the Inhumans.
Yeah, I haven't seen Inhumans, and I haven't seen the new Spider-Man yet, but I've seen everything else.
Okay. So, nice.
What is your take as a filmmaker, not as a fan, but just as a filmmaker of the MCU, of what Marvel have done with that universe? Because I think it's incredible.
You took the word right out of my mouth. I was going to say incredible. It's incredible that they can keep that level of entertainment for almost all movies. I'm not going to say all, but with the exception of maybe two. Yeah. But man, I mean, just how do you do that? It's hard enough making one good movie, But I think they're on 23.
Yeah, I mean, it's taken Bond over 50 years to get to 25 films, and they've done it in what, 10? It's crazy.
Yeah. So, and it's amazing. It's just, I mean, I find it incredible. The storytelling is great. I mean, they do a perfect mix of popcorn flick and storytelling. And a lot of people will say, oh, they're just popcorn flick, but Marvel films has a lot of emotion to it. Like there's a lot of things that you can get out of Marvel films if you really just paid attention to the message on some of them.
Would you consider doing your own style MCU for your movies going forward?
That is the soul of the world. I would love to make it its own universe. It'll start with the books, but I would love. I mean, the original idea came from filmmaking. Famous was a script before it was a novel.
All right.
You know, yeah. So but being that the budget on something like Famous for me is extreme. It's something I can't afford, and my investors can't afford. So and it's not even big as a Marvel. When I budgeted out Famous, it came out to be a little bit under $12 million.
Wow.
And in the scheme of things, in the scheme of films, that's still considered mid to low budget. But for me, it's like I ain't got that kind of money.
No. That's
So
high budget. Yeah.
yeah, and I refuse to shoot it for less than what's needed because it's a great piece of work. So I won't compromise it, and I could easily shoot it for less than that, but I won't get everything that I need out of it if I shot for less than the budget that I have. So I'm gonna wait until I get there.
And how does it work with your filmmaking? Because obviously you write your script. Do you have to go out and then find your own funders, your own investors, or
I
is it?
have Yeah, I have investors. I have investors that ride with me on everything I do, which is a fortunate thing as an independent filmmaker, and I put my own money in it too.
Yeah.
So I'm able to cut the budget a lot by being a writer, by being the editor, by being the director. So those are things that I'm able to cut the expense on. Because I don't pay myself for my script. I just don't. Like, my script is zero on the budget. So that right there knocks a nice chunk out. I don't pay myself to direct. I don't pay myself to produce. I'm able to really, really chop the budget down by doing that because I love movie making so much that it's not about money. And at the end of the day, my films sell. No matter what I do, they sell. That's when I get paid. So it's one of those things where well, if it's not good, you're not gonna get paid. And it's like, so I gotta make it good.
So do you ever bring them over to the UK, the films? Do they ever kind of hit this side of the pond, or?
This one, Once Upon a Lifetime, should. The other ones, they were just way too low budget to be worth the time. But yeah, no, Once Upon a Lifetime should. As far as I know, the distributor has sold territories, and so it should be popping up soon.
Yeah, because the reason I got to watch Once Upon a Lifetime is through Vision Films. I reviewed a film for them, which was Solar Impact: Destruction of London, and it was one I'd rented from we have a DVD rental service still in the UK called Cinema Paradiso.
Okay.
And it's a bit like the old Blockbuster video on demand.
I
So you
know,
get
right?
your
It's like,
list.
wow.
Yeah, and then they send you one in the post, and then you can watch it and send it back. And the beauty about that is obviously they do 4K discs as well. So all the kind of latest films, if I don't want to watch them on streaming and I want to have the proper experience, I can get a 4K disc. But I also, like you, I like watching all sorts of films, and this Solar Impact film kind of caught my attention. So I kind of stuck that on a list and got the DVD and watched it, wrote my review, and then unbeknownst to me, it was distributed by Vision Films, and then they got in touch, and the publicist got in touch, and then that's how I've been able to watch a couple more. And I think yours was the third Vision film I've seen.
Nice.
So I've since had another list of about 4 or 5 come through, so I've got to choose which I want to watch. So.
Awesome, man. That is nice. It's a great connection. Vision is a great company. Just great company. Like yourself, they found me and was like, hey, we love this film. So we made a deal, and yeah, that's where I am. And I hopefully they distribute my next film. So I would definitely love to go with them on the next one.
Oh, amazing. I'll keep in touch with them anyway.
Oh yeah. And if nothing else, I'll send it to you so you can review it. Yeah.
Wow. Amazing.
Let's start getting the silver hedgehog on the map, man. I think you have a great idea. I think that you're great at what you do, and anything I can do to help you, don't hesitate to reach out.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Yeah. And it's great to get some feedback from people such as yourself who are making the films and telling me, yeah, what I'm writing is great or not. And so at least I know I'm on the right path.
It's great. It's great, man. I feel like as long as you stay true to yourself and write exactly what you feel, you can't go wrong. You know. So yeah, yeah. So I can't wait for the next one. And when I direct that Marvel movie, you're the first person I'm calling for the review.
Thank you.
Like
Right.
I need him in
Well,
the front row, people. I'm gonna have to get him in the front row.
yeah. Where's Kevin Feige's number? Come on.
I know, right? I know, but
We want David.
I'm vying for it. Like I'm definitely, hopefully the thing won't be over, but by the time I get there, but I would love to direct a Marvel film.
I think we're in for the long haul with them. The plan they keep coming out with and is incredible, really. And even if they run out of characters, which I don't think they ever will do,
Right.
just invent some new ones, won't they? They're in prime position, really.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I got my manager doing some stuff, but we'll see how that works out. So
I'm rooting for you.
hey, man, I'm gonna do it one day. If nothing else, my universe is coming in the next 2 to 3 years. So
Fantastic. All right. Yeah, shall we end it?
that's perfect.
Thank you, guest number 3.
Awesome, man. I'm number 3 of many. I promise you, my friend, many.
I'm sure you'll all agree that David was a fantastic guest, and I look forward to his return onto the podcast at a later date. Before I carry on, I would also like to thank you, dear listener, for picking this podcast to listen to. There are other ways that you can support, such as pressing like or giving us a great rating on the podcast app of your choice. Also, you can buy us a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/silverhedgehog, and we've also got Patreon available now at patreon.com/silverhedgehog. However you choose to support the podcast, it is very much welcome. Alright, now time's come to review Once Upon a Lifetime. As ever, I'll review it against the criteria laid out at the Silver Hedgehog, so we're looking at the script, casting, sound, visual effects, video quality, and that will give us an overall score of how the film has fared. So first up is going to be script and screenplay, and the official synopsis states that as a little boy struggles to cope with his difficult home life and his parents' failing marriage, a mysterious girl suddenly appears. Faith, family, and a special kind of magic come together as this new friend teaches them all about love, forgiveness, and healing. Miracles sometimes happen when we least expect them. As David said in the interview, what family wouldn't need a little bit of joy? The film opens with a young lad called Thomas being beaten up by school bullies. Thomas in this case is played by Phoenix Nicholson, who is doing a sterling job, but more on that later. While Thomas is on the ground, he sees a girl watching him, a very mysterious young 9-year-old Joy, as it turns out. Something's not quite right with the little girl. Is she a ghost? Is she an alien? Is she something else? We don't know. Thomas decides to make a sharp exit from the girl, only for her to appear outside of his home. His mum, Tatiana, befriends the girl, now called Joy, and invites her to stay while they figure things out. Soon, a strange thing happens overnight. Joy gets older. This is a script that explores the concept of rapid aging, and it also deals with school bullying, husband who's having an affair, mum who is too proud or scared to do anything about it, and a heartfelt discussion on death. One area I found a little disappointing was the family structure. It seems to be focused on a very traditional, if not old school, family dynamic, one where the man provides for family and the woman simply cooks, cleans and looks after the kids. I feel a bit more character development could have brought out a more modern style family dynamic, one where husband and wife are equal, for example. But it's not all doom and gloom. David has injected some humour throughout, breaks up the serious topics. Joy is a streak of genius. She has this naivety that continues as she ages, and that allows for some really nice moments for the cast to play off. There's a reoccurring joke with the Doctor, which is very fun, and overall I thought the script is well structured, and he does an excellent job with making the Joys age and how that has an impact on the family dynamic. So for the script and screenplay, I gave it 8 out of 10. Okay, next up is casting. Now this may well be an independent film full of a cast that are not household names. Araya Thompson, who plays the mom of the family, Tatiana. Thompson has a particular scene where she has to convey a lot of emotion while making a particular decision, and it's a really powerful performance, and you really believe she is the mom of the family. A special mention goes out to the 4 actors that play Joy. They all play Joy and give her a certain personality trait which carries the way through their version or their portrayal of the character of Joy, and it's great to see, and it's a lovely detail. Lastly, about casting, I just wanted to talk about Phoenix Nicholson, who plays Thomas. Now, casting Thomas had to be the right choice, as this character has a lot to do, and if not cast right, the film would fail. And Phoenix Nicholson delivers. He not only looks the part, and he looks like he can own his own in a fight and throw the punches, but he's also able to convey the sensitive side of being a child amidst a parental breakup. Then switch to a kid that's just simply enjoying life when he's around Joy. It's a great performance, and as I say, without him, the film simply would not work. So well done, Phoenix. And I gave the casting 9 out of 10. So next up, it's the sound, music and score category. And for an independent film shot on a budget of about 250k, Once Upon a Lifetime has a really decent soundtrack stroke score. David's gone out and he's found an artist by the name of Emery, which I believe is a band, as we discussed in the interview, and he's been able to marry their music and certain tracks to what happens on screen perfectly. And that's really unusual for an independent film, because normally there's no budget for music. There's a temp or library track that's stuck on, and you have to put up with it as a viewer, but not with Once Upon a Lifetime. It's a really, really class performance, and well done. There are a couple of sound snafus. A couple of scenes suffer from a little bit of sound loss, a little bit of background hiss that could have been removed in post. And I watched it on a pre-release version, so hopefully it's been resolved since then. And that's really my only gripe. So I gave sound, music, score 8 out of 10. And if you'd like to listen to Emery, obviously go out and find them on Spotify. But if you look on my review, there's a sample score section with a few seconds that you can listen to via Spotify. Next is video quality and effects. The screener that I watched didn't specify the quality, but it looked really sharp. The imagery was bright. The film makes good use of some stock footage, so look out for a surprise squirrel. I did notice a couple of shots that had trouble with contrast. There's a shot in a church, for example, where it's very, very contrasty and there's a lot of definition that's lost. That's a really small grumble. Overall, the videography was really well done. There's no real special effects to speak of, other than obviously the makeup, which was fine. It looked really good actually, and I didn't notice anything that was over the top or out of place. So 8 out of 10 for video quality and effects. Overall thoughts: Once Upon a Lifetime is a charming independent film, well written, well produced, well acted. It's been about a month since I last watched it, and there are still certain scenes that stick in my head. It's a film that explores how people can enter your life without reason, provide a positive impact, and then suddenly vanish when their job is done. And I described it as a charming independent film on the review, and I think that sums it up really well. It scored overall 8.2 out of 10, which gives it a recommended rating. And yeah, I do really recommend you go out and find it. Well, that's it for my natterings. I hope you enjoyed my ramblings as well as David's interview. I look forward to speaking to you on episode 6 of the podcast. Until then, take care, stay safe, Hedgehog out.